What if the entire world hinged on a single second? Imagine the moment before history fractured. Consider the positioning of the Allied forces that day. The intricate dance between the marshals and the regiments created a delicate equilibrium, balanced precariously on the edge of collapse. The role of command structure at that specific juncture remains intensely debated by historians. The communication lines between the various corps were strained under the immense strain of the unfolding conflict. A delay in signal transmission or a misinterpretation of orders could have created catastrophic operational failures. TC internal communication, often lost in the chaos, represent another layer of potential divergence. The effectiveness of command directly influenced the final outcome on that fateful day. The psychological state of the soldiers on both sides is another layer to consider. Fear and exhaustion inevitably warp judgment in moments of extreme stress. A moment of hesitation by a key commander could have led to unforeseen tactical blunders. The shared human element introduces an unpredictable variable into these grand strategic maneuvers. This internal conflict often dictates the trajectory of large-scale historical events. The fragility of military strategy is revealed through these personal struggles. The environment itself played an active role in shaping the battle as outcome. The relentless mud and the poor visibility imposed severe physical constraints on every combatant. These harsh conditions amplified existing tensions and made every decision exponentially more difficult. The terrain dictated movement, concealment, and the very ability to execute complex maneuvers successfully. Nature itself became an unforgiving participant in this historical drama unfolding. Examining the tactical errors reveals a pattern of vulnerability inherent in the grand strategy. Small deviations at this juncture snowballed into monumental historical shifts over time. The potential for error was not just a possibility, it was an ever-present reality on the battlefield. This single point of divergence underscores how rapidly history can be rewritten by seemingly insignificant changes. The established path appears suddenly tenuous and easily fractured. The weight of potential futures rests upon this single moment of decision. The improbability of avoiding catastrophe suggests that reality is less fixed than previously assumed. We are forced to confront the immense responsibility carried by those who shape history. This divergence forces a deep reflection on determinism versus free will in the context of large historical events. The outcome was not inevitable, but contingent upon changes made under duress. One mistake. That is all it takes to shatter an empire. At Waterloo, Napoleon's retreat was not a slow, orderly withdrawal. It was a sudden, desperate collapse. But what if, instead of fleeing south, his army had held the line for just a few more hours? The difference between victory and defeat is measured in minutes. In our timeline, the Prussians arrived at dusk. In this alternate reality, they never come. The French hold the Ridge. Wellington's army breaks. And Europe plunges into a chaos that no treaty could ever contain. The vast casualty of this new timeline is the alliance itself. Without a clear defeat, the fragile coalition against Napoleon fractures instantly. Austria and Russia, already suspicious of British motives, begin secret negotiations with the French Emperor. Prussia, humiliated by its near defeat, demands concessions that Britain cannot give. Within weeks, the Congress of Vienna is dead. The great powers turn on each other. And the map of Europe is redrawn not by diplomats, but by armies marching in every direction. But the chaos does not stop at borders. In Paris, news of Napoleon's victory triggers a wave of political assassinations. Royalists who had plotted a Bourbon restoration are hunted down. The Duke of Berry is killed in his bed. Louis XVIII flees to England, but this time he is not welcomed. The British blame him for the war as continuation. Without a stable government, France descends into a terror of its own. The guillotine returns, not for aristocrats, but for anyone suspected of betrayal. Across the English Channel, London is in panic. The stock market crashes. Banks closed their doors. The government falls in a vote of no confidence. The Duke of Wellington, blamed for the defeat, is forced into hiding. His political enemies demand his execution for treason. But he escapes to Canada, where he will later lead a rebellion against the crown. Britain, once the master of Europe, is now a fractured island, torn apart by revolution and economic collapse. The ripple effects reach the New World. Without British naval dominance, the Monroe Doctrine becomes meaningless. Spain, emboldened by Napoleon's victory, launches a reconquest of its former colonies. Simon Bolivar is captured and executed in 1825. The dream of a united South America dies with him. Instead, the continent fragments into warring states, each backed by a different European power. The United States, isolated and threatened, turns inward. It never becomes a global superpower. In the East, the Ottoman Empire sees its chance. Without a strong European alliance, the Turks march into Austria. Vienna falls in 1826. The Habsburg Empire collapses. The Balkans become a battleground for centuries. Russia, distracted by its own war with France, cannot stop the Ottoman advance. The Tsar is assassinated by his own generals. A civil war erupts. And the Romanov dynasty ends not in 1917, but in 1827. The world we know is erased in a single decade. The Industrial Revolution, which transformed our world, is delayed by decades. Without British capital and stable trade routes, factories cannot operate. Coal mines close. Railways are never built. The great inventions of the 19th century, the telegraph, the steam engine, the locomotive, are lost or forgotten. Instead, Europe regresses to an agrarian economy. Feudalism returns in many regions. The Enlightenment ideals of progress and reason are replaced by a dark age of superstition and tyranny. By the way, if you like this discussion, don't forget to subscribe. There are many more interesting topics coming up. Bohler listrik. But the most profound change is in the minds of men. Without the defeat of Napoleon, the concept of nationalism is born deformed. In our timeline, Waterloo sparked a century of nation building. Here, it sparks a century of empire building. The French Empire expands into Spain, Italy, and Germany. The British Empire, weakened, loses India to a French-backed rebellion. The world is divided not into nations, but into vast, competing empires. The idea of self-determination is crushed before it can take root. The long-term consequences are staggering. Without a balance of power, the great empires of the 19th century never learned to coexist. They prepare for total war. By 1850, a conflict erupts that makes our world wars look like skirmishes. It lasts for 30 years. It uses weapons that should not exist for another century. poison gas, armored trains, and early machine guns kill millions. The map of Europe is erased and redrawn so many times that no one remembers the old borders. Civilization itself is scarred beyond recognition. And yet, in the midst of this chaos, a single question haunts us. Was this inevitable? Could one battle truly change the entire course of human history? The answer is both terrifying and liberating. It means that our reality is not fixed. It is fragile. Every choice we make, every moment of hesitation, every stroke of luck, they all matter. The ghost of Waterloo reminds us that history is not a river. It is 1,000 branching streams. And we are swimming in only one of them. The ripples of Waterloo spread far beyond the battlefield. Without Napoleon's defeat, the Industrial Revolution might have taken a radically different path. British factories, fueled by coal and steam, were already transforming society. But a triumphant France, with its own industrial ambitions, could have sparked a continental arms race in innovation. The steam engine, the spinning jenny, the power loom, these inventions might have been hoarded or shared, depending on the whims of emperors. The very fabric of economic progress hung in the balance, woven by the threads of a single battle.
Colonial empires, too, would have been reshaped. Britain's global dominance relied on its navy and its financial networks. A French victory at Waterloo would have shattered that supremacy. The British East India Company, already facing challenges in India, might have lost its grip. French influence could have extended into Asia, Africa, and the Americas, creating a multipolar colonial world. The scramble for Africa, the Opium Wars in China, the independence movements in Latin America, all would have unfolded under different flags. The map of the world would be unrecognizable.
The rise of modern democracy itself hangs in the balance. The Congress of Vienna, which redrew Europe's borders after Napoleon, was built on the principle of legitimacy. A French victory would have delegitimized that entire system. Constitutional monarchies and republics might have spread faster, or been crushed under a new imperial order. The revolutions of 1848, which swept across Europe, might have been preempted or intensified. The very idea of popular sovereignty could have been born in a different crucible, shaped by the outcome of a single day. Consider the fate of nationalists. In our timeline, Napoleon's defeat fueled German and Italian unification as nationalist movements rallied against French domination. But a French victory could have suppressed these movements for decades. The German Confederation might have remained a loose collection of states, with Prussia never rising to dominance. Italy might have stayed a geographical expression. The Balkan nations, too, would have faced a different Austria-Hungary, perhaps stronger or weaker. The map of Europe would be a patchwork of ancient loyalties, not modern nation-state. The butterfly effect touches even the arts and sciences. Romanticists, which flourished in reaction to the Napoleonic Wars, might have taken a different form. Without the Congress of Vienna, the intellectual climate could have been more repressive or more libertine. The works of Beethoven, Goethe, and Byron might have been censored or celebrated. Scientific societies, founded by rival empires, would have competed for discoveries. The theory of evolution, the periodic table, the germ theory of disease, all could have been delayed or accelerated by the political winds. The Industrial Revolution's social costs would also differ. In our timeline, the rise of factories led to urbanization, child labor, and the birth of socialists. A French-dominated Europe might have seen a different balance between state control and laissez-faire. Napoleon's code, with its emphasis on meritocracy, could have shaped labor laws. The working class might have organized under different ideologies, perhaps earlier or later. The specter of communism, which haunted the 20th century, might have been a ghost of a different shape. Technological innovation might have been channeled into warfare. Without the Pax Britannica, Europe could have seen a series of arms races. The development of breech-loading rifles, ironclad warships, and eventually tanks and aircraft might have been accelerated. The Great War, if it happened at all, would have been fought with different alliances and weapons. The 20th century's mechanized slaughter could have begun decades earlier, or been avoided entirely. The path to total war is paved with small decisions. The global balance of power would shift towards the east. Awakened Britain might have been unable to maintain its influence in China, opening the door for French or Russian expansion. The Opium Wars could have ended differently, with China perhaps retaining more sovereignty. Japan's Meiji Restoration, which was partly a response to Western pressure, might have been delayed or accelerated. The rise of Japan as a modern power could have been shaped by a different set of colonial rivals. Asia's destiny was tied to Europe's fate. The Americas would not be immune. The Monroe Doctrine, which asserted U.S. dominance in the Western Hemisphere, was a direct response to the Congress of Vienna. A French victory might have challenged that doctrine, leading to a French-backed empire in Mexico or a stronger Spanish presence. The American Civil War could have been influenced by European intervention, with France possibly supporting the Confederacy. The United States might have remained a regional power, not a global superpower. The 20th century's American century might never have dawned. The very concept of progress would be redefined. The 19th century believed in linear progress, in the inevitability of democracy and science, was partly a product of British and French narratives. A different outcome at Waterloo could have fostered a more cynical or more spiritual worldview. The philosophy of Hegel, Marx, and Darwin might have been marginalized. The idea that history has a direction, that humanity is moving towards freedom, might have been replaced by a more cyclical view. Our sense of meaning is shaped by our past. The long-term environmental impact is also worth considering. The Industrial Revolution's carbon emissions began in the 19th century. A different pattern of industrialization could have altered the timing and scale of climate change. Perhaps a French-dominated Europe would have prioritized different energy sources, like water power or early solar. Or perhaps the arms race would have accelerated coal consumption. The Anthropocene, the age of human influence on the planet, might have begun earlier or later. Our climate crisis is a legacy of historical changes. Ultimately, the butterfly effect teaches us humility. The grand narratives we tell about history, the rise of democracy, the march of progress, the triumph of freedom, are contingent on 1,000 small events. A single cannonball, a misplaced order, a moment of hesitation at Waterloo could have unraveled it all. We live in a world that is not inevitable, but accidental. Every choice matters. Every moment is a crossroads. The ghost of Waterloo remains as that history is not a river, but a web of infinite possibilities. What if the entire course of human history hinged on a single, fleeting choice? At Waterloo, a moment of hesitation or a gust of wind could have rewritten the destiny of continents. This thought experiment forces us to confront the terrifying fragility of our reality. Every empire, every ideology, every life we know today rests on a chain of accidents. The question is not just what would have changed, but what does this tell us about the nature of existence itself? Are we masters of our fate, or merely passengers on a random drift through time? Consider the concept of determinism. In our timeline, Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo sealed the fate of Europe. But in an alternate world where he escaped to fight another day, the entire structure of the 19th century would have been fundamentally different. The Congress of Vienna, the balance of power, the rise of nationalism, all these pillars of modern history would have crumbled. This is not mere speculation. It is a logical deduction from the interconnectedness of events. One change cascades into 1,000 others, each one amplifying the divergence until the original reality becomes unrecognizable. Now, let us shift perspective. If history can be so easily altered, what does that imply about free will? Every decision we make, no matter how small, sends ripples into the future. The soldier who hesitated, the general who misread a map, these are not just historical footnotes. They are the very fabric of our present. In the alternate timeline, perhaps a different set of changes led to a world without world wars, or perhaps to an even more catastrophic. The point is that we cannot know. And that uncertainty is the essence of human freedom. But there is a deeper layer. The interconnectedness of change suggests that no event exists in isolation. A butterfly flaps its wings in Brazil, and a tornado forms in Texas. At Waterloo, a single cavalry charge delayed by minutes could have changed the outcome. That change would have altered the lives of millions, including the ancestors of people alive today. In the alternate timeline, you might not exist. Your parents might never have met. This thought is both humbling and terrifying. It reveals the staggering contingency of our very being. Historians often speak of inevitability. They argue that certain outcomes were destined by larger forces, economics, geography, culture. But Waterloo challenged that notion. The battle was a near-ranking, as Wellington himself said. If the Prussians had arrived an hour later, if the French cavalry had broken the squares, the world would be a different place. This suggests that history is not a predetermined path but a chaotic system, sensitive to the smallest perturbations. We cling to narratives of inevitability to make sense of the chaos, but they are illusions. What lessons can we draw for our own time? The world today faces its own Waterloo moments, climate change, geopolitical tensions, technological disruptions. The changes we make now will echo for centuries. If we understand that history is not fixed, we realize that our actions matter. The future is not written. It is a blank page, waiting for the ink of our decisions. This is both a burden and a gift. It means that we have the power to shape what comes next, but also the responsibility to choose wisely. Yet, there is a paradox. If every choice creates a new branch of reality, then infinite worlds exist simultaneously. In one, Napoleon wins. In another, he never even invades Russia. This multiverse idea, popular in physics, suggests that all possibilities are realized somewhere. But that does not diminish the significance of our own timeline. It is the one we inhabit, the one we must navigate. The alternate histories are not escapes. They are mirrors that reflect the fragility and preciousness of our own existence. consider the role of chance? At Waterloo, a sudden rainstorm delayed Napoleon's attack, giving the Prussians time to arrive. If the weather had been clear, the battle might have ended differently. This remains us that we are not in control. Randomness is woven into the fabric of reality. Our lives are shaped by accidents of birth, timing, and luck. Acknowledging this can be liberating. It frees us from the illusion of absolute control and opens us to the beauty of uncertainty. We learn to dance with chaos rather than fight it. What if the alternate timeline teaches us that some things are inevitable after all? Despite the chaos, certain patterns recur. Empires rise and fall. Technologies advance. Humans seek meaning. Perhaps the specifics change, but the broad strokes remain. Napoleon's defeat may have been a fluke, but the decline of absolute monarchy was not. The forces of liberalism and nationalism were already in motion. Waterloo was a catalyst, not a cause. This suggests that while the tales are contingent, the overall direction of history may have a logic of its own. In the end, the Ghost of Waterloo is not just about one battle. It is a symbol of the eternal tension between fate and free will. Every generation must grapple with this question. Our ancestors faced it, and so will our descendants. The alternate reality we have explored is a thought experiment, but its implications are real. It challenges us to see history as a living, breathing entity, shaped by countless hands. And it remains us that we, too, are authors of the future. The pen is in our hands. What story will we write? Well, chome. Before we begin, hit subscribe so you don't miss our daily updates. Bell don't miss out. Subscribe today for exclusive content tomorrow. Kado terbungkus.